I gotta tell you, I'm a Bill Willingham fan. I like Fables, but I liked Elementals in the 1980s. So I've been following his, I think it's called Substack. He writes this column, and it's really kind of interesting because a lot of times he'll go into what it is to be a comic book writer, how to do things like that, and how to make one good, how to make sure your characters are interesting, that kind of stuff. So I checked my email today, and there's a new Substack, and it is flat out Bill Willingham saying that he is sole owner of the property of Fables, which has been a DC comic now for what, 20 years now? And he owns the property outright. So he decided, screw it, it's yours. So we're going to go over that article right now. Dr. VENKMAN's firing up his computer. He's going to help us out. Hello to Ahsoka. Hello to Dakina. This is a bit of a guerrilla style live stream that I used to do where it's like, holy shit, that's news. Let's talk about it, gang. And so we're going to do that. We're going to go over the article and such. This is something. This is big, because this is one of those things where if they've made this deal, let's rip if they own it. DC ain't doing proper. Let's take that away. Let's actually exercise our rights. We've seen it with Image a couple of times. Shit, Rob Liefeld jumped ship. What was it, 5 years into Image's lifespan? I think this could alter things. This could change things. All right, I'm going to get this thing started, and VENKMAN, when he gets here, can jump right on in. But let's see. Once again, this is what is, yeah, this is Substack. Willingham sends Fables into the public domain. Hello to Joe and Dakina, Ahsoka in the comments. Hopefully we'll be joined by others. Once again, this is kind of a guerrilla style. I don't have it scheduled. Let's just talk about the news of the day. You gotta say, you know, I don't know if you're a Fables fan. I recommend you check it out. And yes, this is one of those books that it's one whole overarching story. So it is best that you start at the beginning. Some comics you can really jump into the middle, and you could do this because it's written for the trades. So you do get individual stories, but it is so much better if you start at the beginning and go through. But one thing I gotta say is the freaking covers, man, have always been gorgeous. Okay, Fables press release. Subject: Fables enters the public domain. Oh, hello. I just heard the doctor come in. How you doing?
Hey.
Now, are you a reader of Fables?
No, but I know that a lot of people are fans of this. And according to his tweet from 2 days ago, they've been 2 years, they've been dicking him around. I think everyone who has a comic book series or independent writer, creator, should leave DC and Marvel.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, what you're talking about, he sent a tweet saying that he doesn't understand why Fables is being late, because he sent in the script for every issue that he had planned 2 years ago. Now, is that true? I would trust him just because it is his property, man. It is. There is no reason for him to lie about this.
2 years ago, 2021.
Right.
So even if there are COVID policies in places, there's no excuses. The work's there.
Right, because after that, you just start it back up and keep it going. It's amazing to me how they coddle bad writers and bad artists. And they will throw to the side Bill Willingham. They'll throw to the side Chuck Dixon, people who have proven themselves. And it's all because, yeah, Venditti. Well, Venditti thankfully is getting a series, The Sandman, coming up. But they got Riley Rosmo drawing it.
I was gonna say.
Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's
basically as a way of saying, you know, we own you, and you want to work with us, you know, you got to play our ball. And then when you're one of us, one of the correct-minded people, we're working with a better artist, like we give to Tom King,
yeah,
and like Brian Michael Bendis.
Now, Venditti being drawn by Riley Rosmo is like William Shakespeare being drawn by Riley Rosmo. I'm sorry, I can't think of anyone that bad that compares. It's got to be him.
It's like being drawn by Helen Keller. At this point, Helen Keller might be better.
Yeah, I would. You could just call it abstract. Anywho, it says, as of now, 15 September 2023, the comic book property called Fables, including all related Fables spin-offs and characters, is now in the public domain. What once was wholly owned by Bill Willingham is now owned by everyone for all time. It's done, and as experts will tell you, once it's done, it cannot be undone. And that is the truth. If something is in the public domain and then somebody decides they want to do something with it, that doesn't stop you from doing it. You can make a Snow White. You can make a Peter Pan. You can make any of these. Well, no, I think Peter Pan is actually owned by the orphanage. But anyway, point being is that there are all these public domain characters, Robin Hood, I believe, you know, that you can do your own version of. Now, you can't do Disney's version of it. If you do Disney's version of Snow White, sure, you're going to get sued. But what he's saying here, and let's face it, a lot of these characters, the Fables, themselves were in public domain, but these are his version of these characters, and that's forever and ever. Amen. So if anybody tells you, yeah, you can't do Snow White, no, sorry. Let's see, why did you do this? A number of reasons, he says. I've thought this over for some time, in no particular order they are. And by the way, Venk, if you have anything to say, just speak up. It's just the two of us. You can actually get a voice in.
I can also mute you if I want to speak.
Right, yeah. Can you? Practice.
Want me to? I'll do it right now. Look. Look, he's muted.
But there has to be kind of an all father button. You know, this is my channel, so you shouldn't be able to f me over.
The only thing I cannot do, and same with you, is if I mute myself or you mute yourself, I can't unmute you and you can't unmute me.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so it goes on to say, practicality. When I first signed my creator-owned publishing contract with DC Comics, the company was run by honest men and women of integrity who, for the most part, interpreted the details of that agreement fairly and above board. When problems inevitably came up, we worked it out like reasonable men and women. Since then, over the span of 20 years or so, the people have left and have been fired, to be replaced by a revolving door of strangers of no measurable integrity. Oh, slap. Seriously. Who now choose to interpret every facet of our contract in ways that only benefit DC Comics and its owner companies. At one time, the Fables properties were in good hands, and now by virtue of attrition and employee replacement, these Fable properties have fallen into bad hands. Look, we've been thinking and talking about the bad business practices of Marvel and DC. Here we have a well-known and established writer, somebody who's been in the business for damn near 40 years, if not 40 years, coming out and saying, you know what? It's soured. This tree can no longer bear good fruit. It's done. It's dead. These people aren't worth it.
Like I said, it's become the point where they only care about merchandise over at DC and Marvel. And it's become like a clique group. So if you are not the right fit for the group, you're blackballed. Or they give you shitty artists for your books as a way of saying, so they can push their shitty books with the better artists.
It's getting ridiculous over there. And
but that's
really...
DC though. Marvel, for some reason, it's like there is no struggle right there. There's like probably one or two writers that are still decent. The rest of them don't even know how to use a typewriter.
We started this whole shebang wanting to protect the characters. That's really what everything started. Hey guys, we're the ones who buy, we're the ones who care, so please listen to us when we say you're going in the wrong direction.
Sure.
And when we started for a little bit, we actually had the ear of people who cared, and I think now they don't. I think this ESG thing has just taken over, and damn. the people who are buying it. We don't care. It doesn't matter.
The people that did care are no longer working there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, they're gone, or they don't have any control whatsoever. Say what you will about EVS. You know, but
I have said
it starts there. You know, he get kicked out. Now, I mean, you know, has he done some questionable things since he left? Sure, you know, but it doesn't change the fact that DC is kicking people out, people who don't do, especially if you vote a certain way that they don't. It's all become the crazy people clique, and it's sad to say it's high school.
Yeah. He goes on to say, since I can't afford to sue DC to force them to live up to the letter and spirit of our longtime agreement, since even winning such a suit would take ridiculous amounts of money out of my pocket and years off of my life. I'm 67 years old and don't have the years to spare. I've decided to take a different approach and fight them in a different arena. Inspired by the principles of asymmetric warfare, the one thing in our contract the DC lawyers can't contest or reinterpret to their own benefit is that I am the sole owner of the intellectual property. I could sell it or give it away to whomever I want, and I choose to give it away to everyone. If I couldn't prevent Fables from falling into bad hands, at least this way I can arrange that it also falls into many good hands. Since I truly believe that there are still more good people in the world than bad ones, I count it as a form of victory. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, think of the stories you could tell with the characters. Would you continue the story? Would you take a character that maybe he touched upon that you liked and he never revisited? How would you do it? Because it's yours now. It's mine now. I'm actually thinking about this.
I've read the Bixby Wolf parts, you know, the story where he turns into glass and then dies. I don't know if he ever comes back.
Spoilers. Damn.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
that happened like 2000 something, early 2000s.
I haven't read the last couple of chapters.
But I said I didn't finish all of this. I don't even know if he comes back to life or whatever. But I'm saying the great thing about being public domain is that it's just like people who do online role playing or fan fiction. You can do your own things now. Yeah. Now you can make money off it if you want to.
There's going to be some great stories. There's going to be some shit stories too, but there's going to be some great stories out of this.
So Fables, Cyberfrog is coming. You know that.
Why not, dude? You know what? I promote that. Once again, Ethan and I have no love lost between us, but and at this point it's apathy. It's like, okay, they're over there doing their thing. I'm over here doing my thing.
That's the great thing.
But I say this, Ethan, seriously, get someone on that. Don't do it yourself because we all know it'll take like 19 years. Get somebody onto that shit.
Get crossovers. I'll say real quickly. Is there any characters from public domain that you'd love to see crossover Fables now?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? You could do stuff like you could have like the Golden Age Daredevil in there. For your sake, you can have like you could have your version of Captain Marvel in there. You can have all sorts of characters. There's so many really interesting characters in public domain right now. Let's move on to number 2 here. He says philosophy. In the past decade or so, and I'm going to get to Maranya's comment in just a little bit. In the past decade or so, my thoughts on how to reform the trademark and copyright laws in this country, and others, I suppose, have undergone something of a radical transformation. The current laws are a mishmash of unethical backroom deals to keep trademarks and copyrights in the hands of large corporations who can largely afford to buy the outcomes they want. And that's what happened with Disney. Disney originally was supposed to go into public domain Mickey Mouse in the 70s, and then they did something which gave them another however many years. And every time it's come up, they've done something to keep Mickey Mouse into their hands. Superman and Batman are coming up, as a matter of fact. Let's see. In my template for radical reform of those laws, I would like it if any IP is owned by its original creator for up to 20 years from the point of first publication, and then goes into public domain for any and all to use. However, at any time before that 20-year span bleeds out, you, the IP owner, can sell it to another person or entity who can have exclusive use for up to a maximum of 10 years. That's it. Then it can't be resold. It goes into public domain. So then at the most, any intellectual property can be kept for exclusive use for up to about 30 years. Of course, if I'm going to believe such radical ideas, what kind of hypocrite would I be if I didn't practice them? Fables has been my baby for about 20 years now. It's time to let it go. This is my first test of this process. If it works, and I see no legal reason why it won't, look for other properties to follow in the future, since DC or any other corporate entity doesn't actually own the property. They don't get a say in this decision. There you go, man. This is absolutely, he says to DC, you know, since you're screwing me over, I'm lighting the house on fire.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Brubaker's not working at DC anymore. There's a reason why Venditti's been running a book over at Dark Horse. A lot of them are just starting to seek other places of venue or money, you know, where they can actually just don't have to worry about this bullshit with DC and Marvel.
You know what?
And that's good, because if there's more people doing independent stuff, it actually helps out the comic book industry. It actually says, you know what, mommy, daddy, I don't need your paycheck anymore. You know,
it's kind of funny. Had Frank Miller really known about this, and he could have kept a hold of Elektra, and this could have gone just for that as well. Yeah. He had a serious serious deal with Elektra for a while, and then Marvel just kind of took control. Maran, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, speaking of the new Daredevil, you should cover that. Is your next book?
Is the a bad comic beatdown? Is it that bad?
It's solid in Ahmed.
Alrighty.
And I'll just say in the very beginning, there's a cabbie talking about doing prayer. You know.
Maranya says, I wonder if Papa Disney and Mama Warner Brothers Discovery weren't giving Marvel and DC essentially welfare checks and propping them up. Would the big two be in big time bankruptcy? I believe so. I think so too.
Well, yeah. If there's no merch being sold, then the comic books companies are pretty much gone.
Well, Superman, Batman, they're still billion-dollar businesses. You can slap a Superman and Batman, and even Wonder Woman now, sticker onto anything. And
that's the only thing that's propping these companies up, you know, as far as their value. Otherwise, AT&T or whoever owns DC would drop them because they're not making any money off of them. They're losing money with comic books.
Michael Hart saying they really are greedy, soulless corporations. Now, Owen, let me remind you also, you don't need a super chat to have your message read, but they sure are welcome. All right. Hey, or just go over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the tip jar. Also, I am going to be opening commissions again, and yeah, so.
And if
all
you
right.
have, so
well, I went through my board, because I always thought, wow, I am so far behind. I went through my board and I erased everything I had already done. There's like 3 videos I have to make. So yeah. Okay. So anywho, let's see. The public domain, seems DC really doesn't care for content they don't control. That's from Dakina. Hey, what's up, Zach? How you doing, man? Saying hello to the early birds. I think you're right, Maranya. If it wasn't for Disney and Warner Brothers money, comics would be probably dead. And that's I don't know if they'd be dead, but
new comic books it'd be a different format, and you'd actually seeing a lot more Substack stuff like this, what they're doing. But honestly, if Marvel and DC were to go under those IPs, I would hate to see. We'd all hate to see them be split up.
Oh, of course. That's why I don't think they would be dead. I've said this before. Comic books are changing in ways that old farts like myself don't like. I think we would have seen more drastic changes, like maybe an actual move towards all digital would have gone further because the publishing process would have been too expensive or something along those lines.
Yeah. So what there is a greener side to that. If they already split up the IPs, if you're able to keep the Batman characters in Gotham, you know, one someone buys all the Gotham characters, someone buys all the Metropolis characters. Mm-hmm. Those will sell. Superman, there's like Superman books, Batman books, and then what they do, and normally do, whoever's writing it creates a new character, and that's how you build.
Also, keep an eye out. Either today or tomorrow, I might be doing a half off comic book auction, just so I could maybe pick up some big dogs and some mid-range at the warehouse sale. The lot of comic books I ordered for this week, they just sent me we just shipped it. Oh. Even though I paid for it 6 days ago, they're just shipping it now. So anyway, let's get back to the article.
I'll just do it real quickly. I want Jeff Johns to take JSA and take that.
Yeah, but that's not his property.
I know, but
the whole thing about this is his property. All right, let's get to it. What exactly has DC Comics done to provoke this? Too many things to list exhaustively here. Here are some highlights. Throughout the years of my business relationship with DC, with Fables, and with other intellectual properties, DC has always been in violation of their agreements with me. Usually it's smaller matters like forgetting to seek my opinion on an artist for new stories, or for covers or formats of new collections and such. In those times when called on, they automatically said, sorry, we overlooked you again. It just fell through the cracks. They use the fell through the cracks line so often and so reflexively that I eventually had to bar them from using it ever again. They are often late reporting royalties and often underreporting said royalties, forcing me to go after them to pay the rest of what's owed. Lately, though, their practices have been grown beyond these mere annoyances, prompting some sort of showdown. First, they tried to strong-arm the ownership of Fables from me when Mark Doyle and Dan Didio first approached me with the idea of bringing Fables back for its 20th anniversary. Both gentlemen, since fired from DC, during the contract negotiations for the new issues, their legal negotiators tried to make it a condition of the deal that the work be done as work for hire, effectively throwing the property irrevocably into the hands of DC. When that didn't work, their excuse was, sorry, we didn't read your contract going into these negotiations. We thought we owned it. Yeah, right. Also, I don't know if, and he might mention this in a little bit, but they also screwed him out of a TV deal because I know most of you probably already know this, but Once Upon a Time was supposed to be Fables, the TV show.
Yep.
When it first came out. Let's see. Chrononaut saying, I think if they drop the big checks, Darwinism takes place and SJWs leave not a road to Netflix or Disney. Yeah, that makes a little sense. Given the sales of their flagship books these days, those falling profits, if DC and Marvel weren't welfare queens, it would put them into serious receivership like the 90s or thereabouts at least. It's kind of like too big to fail. Hey, what's up, MK? Zach says, but what happens for Justice League fans if you cut corners out of the DCU? They have to deal. Let's see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but couldn't it also mean Willingham can also do more of what he wants without repercussion from DC? Yes, absolutely. He always could. This is his football. He could have gone to another field to play. So they screwed over. But like he said, he didn't want to get into any court thing. He's 67 years old. And for him, the best thing to do, let's go. Hey, Ahsoka, what's up? What's up? And
crap.
What? Here. Oh, Evil Black Cat, what's up?
It's been so peaceful.
It's been quiet in Toontown. All righty. Let's see. More recently, during talks to try to work out many differences, DC officers admitted that their interpretation of our publishing agreement and the following media rights agreement is that they could do whatever they wanted with the property. They could change stories or characters in any way they wanted. They had no obligation whatsoever to protect the integrity and value of the IP, either from themselves or third parties. Telltale Games, for instance. Mm-hmm. I have never finished that game. I started like 3 times. I've never finished it. Not because I don't like it. It's just one of those things where I'm playing it and then I forget I'm playing it. And then I forget the story, so I got to go back to the beginning.
Understandable.
Who want to radically alter the character setting, history, and premises of the story? I've seen the script they try to hide from me for a couple of years, nor did they owe me any money for licensing the Fable rights to third parties, since such licensing wasn't anticipated in our original publishing agreement. I got to tell you, if it wasn't, I've got to blame Bill on this one, because if you, and I'll go way back for this one, if you are a radio actor and you saw movies come to fruition, the next contract you should sign would be, yeah, any future medium or anything, blah, 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 because you've seen the evolution. Same for radio to TV, from TV to VCRs and DVDs and so forth. At some point in time, you've got to put for any medium, any source, any technology, any blah, 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 from here till the end of time, ad nauseum, whatever the legal thing is.
Fables was kind of like or Grim Fairy Tale is kind of, it's basically fairy tale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how much has changed. But I know I've been playing this. He's talking about, Bill had brought up the Telltale games. Apparently, he got no anything incentive from it, and the fact they said they're changing it, which kind of sucks because I do like the Telltale game. A Wolf Among Us is one of the best games ever, and you know that means that him leaving DC. I hope that season 2, which I've been waiting about 3 years for now, doesn't get effed over because of him.
A lot of people want that Fables to come in, but if he owns the property, now he doesn't own the property. Right now, Telltale Games has permission because he put it in public domain. Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
Sure.
So it's no longer a question now. Whomever wants to play in this particular playground, good to go. So it says when they capitulated on some of the points in later conference call, promising on the phone to pay me back monies owed for licensing Fables to Telltale, for example, in the execution of the new agreement, they reneged on their word and offered the promised amount instead of its consulting fee, which avoided the precedent of admitting that this was money owed, and included a non-disclosure agreement that would prevent me from saying anything but nice things about Telltale and licensing. Okay, so he's a little bit salty because he had nothing to do with the Telltale games. And so on, that there's so much more, but these, as I said, are some of the highlights at the point. Since I disagreed on all of their new interpretations of our longstanding agreement, we were in conflict. Jeez. They practically dared me to sue them to enforce my rights, knowing it would be a long and deliberate process. Instead, I began to consider other ways to go. Let's see. Can William take Bernard with him when he leaves?
I saw that. I couldn't help.
What?
You know, as a duck, can you take Tim's gay boyfriend with him when he leaves? He created the character.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Bill Willingham created Bernard. Even when all of that stuff happened, Bill Willingham mentioned, yeah, I create him. He's not gay. He actually really wanted to bang Tim's mom.
So,
and if you go back and you read the original appearances of Bernard, he's always talking about how hot Tim's mom was.
So is that when this 2 years that he's been waiting 2 years, like 2021? Was that when Bernard was created? Or was it 2022? Because I wonder if that's when DC started giving the shaft.
Yeah, I think it has. I think it has been within these 2 years that Bernard and Tim started banging. So
yeah, but I'm wondering if that's the not the catalyst or what you call it, but that's the moment when DC's, you know what, he's just not going to play balls with it. He's going to the other side.
This is brought up. Hey Matt, what's up? This brings up a good point too. In order to fight DC Comics, Bill Willingham has now given DC Comics the rights to do whatever they want. Are you concerned at what DC will do now? No. I gave them years to do the right thing. I tried to reason with them, but you can't reason with the unreasonable. They use these years to make soothing promises, tell lies about how dedicated they were towards working this out, and keep dragging things out as long as possible. I gave them an opportunity to renegotiate the contracts from the ground up and putting everything in unambiguous language, and they ignored that offer. I gave them the opportunity twice to simply tear up our contracts and we each go our separate ways, and they ignored those offers. I tried to go over their heads to deal directly with the new corporate masters and maybe find someone willing to deal in good faith, and they blocked all attempts to do so. Try getting any officer of DC Comics to identify who they report to up the company ladder. I dare you. In any case, without giving them details, I warned them months in advance that this moment was coming. I told them what I was about to do would be both legal and ethical. Now it's happened. Note that my contract with DC Comics is still in force. I did nothing to break them and cannot unilaterally end them. I still can't publish Fable comics through anyone but them. Okay, now we know why he couldn't take his football. I still can't authorize a Fables movie through anyone but them, nor can I license Fables toys, lunchboxes, or anything else. And they still have to pay me for the books they publish. And I'm not giving up on the other money they owe. One way or the other, I intend to get my 50% of the money they've owed me for years for the Telltale game and other things. However, you, the new 100% owner of Fables, never signed such agreements. For better or worse, DC and I are still locked together in this unhappy marriage, perhaps for all time, but you aren't. If I understand the law correctly, and be advised that copyright law is a mess, purposely vague, murky, and no two lawyers, not even those specializing in copyright and trademark law, agree on anything. You have the rights to make your Fables movies, cartoons, publish your Fables books, and manufacture your Fables toys and do anything you want with your property because it is your property. Mark Buckingham is free to do his version of Fables, and I dearly hope so that he does. Steve Lee, I can't pronounce that, is free to do his version, which I would love to see, and so on. You don't have to get my permission, but you might get my blessing depending on your plans. You don't have to get DC's permission or the permission of anyone else. You never signed the same agreement I did. It was my absolute joy and pleasure to bring you Fable stories for the past 20 years. I look forward to seeing what you do with it. And boom, there you go. He dropped the freaking dynamite. The one thing I would be concerned about is like trademark. You can do the Big Bad Wolf, but can you draw Bigby the way he is in the comics without DC jumping down your throat? That would be the big
neither
question.
Can even. Well, the good thing is that neither can even the artists that are drawing on these books. And I mean about when I'm seeing like the Steve or what was his name, Layla Hola, whatever those guys. Or
I can't pronounce that.
Yeah, they're gonna get really Rossmo on these books. You know that. Or if they're smart, they just won't touch the books whatsoever and let people forget about Fables.
Well, that's the problem. They can't. It's yours now. If it's kind of an immovable force and a unstoppable, you know what I'm saying, immovable object, unstoppable force. What you're going to have is DC's version, which they're going to see, and a lot of people are going to see as the official version of Fables. Just the way it is. It's where it's been for 20 years. But then you're going to have the Dr. VENKMAN version of Fables. Now, if DC doesn't keep up with their version of Fables, the only version out there is going to be Dr. VENKMAN's Fables.
Mine's going to be great. They're going to be sitting around the diner having coffee. You know,
every woman's going to be in a bikini. You know it.
Well,
sitting around drinking coffee.
Yeah, and eating donuts.
You'll still have that, but they'll be in bikinis. But that's the whole point of it. If DC is at a point where their brand is now a little diminished with this property anyway, well, obviously we all think the whole thing, but their version of this is diminished. But if they don't do something to strengthen it, theirs will no longer be. Yeah.
And Joe is saying, sounds like DC just made a deal just so they don't have the competition. And that's basically kind of what it is. Most companies are like that. They're going to sign something that's exclusive that no one else can make money but them. So even if it means pissing off the writer, they don't care because now they have access to your stuff. Until the agreement's over.
The DC had an Image Comics deal with Bill Willingham. And more likely, it was in response, you know, Image Comics, because this was 2000s. Image Comics had their rise, their dip, and they were rising again. And okay, we lost Kirkman. We need to save somebody else. We got this great property. We got this great. Let's do some creator-owned deals. We'll do that kind of thing. But then they still wanted the work for hire. The problem is
Kirkman on Fables.
I would love to see that. I really would. I'm with him. At first, I was very much against it. You know, like no. Keep Superman with DC. Keep Batman with DC. Keep Spider-Man with Marvel. But when you think about it, you do get shit. You really do. But as far as Mickey Mouse porn exists already. You know, your big fear is already out there. So what else can you do? You know, what can Matt Reese here do with Mickey Mouse? That would be awesome to find out. You know, so these characters that are just going to fall into public domain, I don't think it's as bad of an idea as you may think. You'd still have the main continuity. It's just, what else do you get?
Zach said, like, what happens for the Justice League fans if you cut corners out of DC? Well, that's how before the Justice League, you can create other teams. You know, look what Jeff Johns did with Justice Society.
New characters, new teams, and who knows? Without DC involved, it might be better than the Justice League. You're like, okay. The thing is that you're never going to lose. You're never. Quickly. You're never going to lose Avengers or Justice League because you have back issues. I guarantee not everyone's read them or even remembers if when you get older. You go back and you're going to reread them. Doesn't make anything from them unless they release trades.
So
Eric's saying, did DC suddenly realize Willingham voted Republican?
Well, they probably realized that he's straight and he doesn't like Gabe Bernard.
Okay, Soka, where SCP is basically public domain in terms of the contract where you can release games and everything based off stuff, majority of stuff is diminished. The majority of DC stuff is not good. Well, not when it comes to Fables. Fables has been pretty solid. I stopped at the superhero story, but all the way up, that book is solid. Let's see, the majority of DC stuff is not good, but also anyone can now make Fable movie. Also, they can't trademark it because in public domain. Well, I'm talking about if there's any trademark that DC might claim for the past works.
Their trademark eventually will run out, though. They don't own it forever. Isn't it a signed agreement for a limited amount of years?
Yeah. Women in bikinis eating ice cream-filled donuts or eclairs will be RDV's version of Fables.
Can we go on?
Wolf being in the Tex Avery.
Can we go on to the hot girl thing with whatever her name is, Alexa, whatever?
Are we doing a full hour?
Why not?
Long?
Let's do it.
I was going to stop this and just slap it on as its own video. You want to talk about that?
Or we can stop this one. We'll do another live stream for that.
No. We'll just keep going. You sent you sent it, right? It's in the.
I don't think I sent it. I might have.
It wasn't in. It's in our DM though, right? Yeah. Okay. So. Here, let me save this here. We're talking about. Okay. First, let's wrap up on the Bill Willingham, and this will give me a good stopping. I could cut the 2 1/2. Overall, as far as the copyright, I'm looking forward to it as well. I want to see what other people do with it. I want to see what other people do with Spider-Man. I want my hands on characters like that also.
Yeah, this is your chance to see what happens if you take a DC character out of DC universe and see where it goes.
Oh, Matt's responding to he's watching it back in 2 times speed, so he's responding to what you said like 20 minutes ago.
I know. As I said,
that's awesome.
I don't know for sure. I'm not going to speculate either. People have been speculating for the past 4 or 5 years now. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if they are playing clicks. And then you have the other former editor, DC editor, I forget what her name is. Nice woman. And her problems, and she backs up and is just saying how much of creeps they are at work at that office. Now, then again, it's a great assault, but the way you can talk about with the way some things are getting more attention than others, especially at Marvel. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel DC are full of left-wing nut jobs that run the company, because look at the shit that they're putting out and they're virtue signaling. Look what they got. People who are you got people like Brian Michael Bendis. I'm going to age up John Kent. Tom King, make him gay. Instantly make him gay.
That seems to be the only idea, by the way.
That was
anymore.
Gross.
It is weird. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I've got it ready to go. Let me grab a couple of
3.
Here is the Hot Girl. Is this Hot Girl series really only to bring the Galaxy characters into comics to promote them? I haven't heard of that, but we're going to listen. Joe is correctly mentioning that Sherlock Holmes and Dracula are in the public domain and they're number 1 and 2 most movie characters. And let's look at what we got, because it's in open public domain. We got Bram Stoker's Dracula done by Francis Ford Coppola. We got this Last of the Demeter, which looks pretty good. You get all sorts of tales. We got Tomb of Dracula because Marvel was free to do that. So there's a lot of good things that can come from a public domain character. All right, let me share this out, which which
you should rename this title though. Is DC is a dead IP farm, and Fables is the animal that got away from the farm, out of the pen, or something like that.
Okay, so this you shared this. I haven't listened to it, tell you the truth. So I guess
the title speaks enough.
Queer kind of story.
Hold on,
and
let me start at the beginning.
Superheroes are a very queer kind of story.
Wait, I can't hear the sound.
And that
I'm not sharing properly.
Have these double lives and
I can't hear the sound.
Let me redo that then, and we'll get on to this particular.
I hear someone in the background. I was like, Gail.
No, she's downstairs. It says sharing audio, so we'll try it one more time here. I turned it up all the way. All right, here we go.
Superheroes are a very queer kind of story, and that you have these characters who have these double lives, and one life is much more colorful and dynamic and exciting, but they also have to take on this normal life. Most superheroes are in the closet.
I can't hear it.
Either literally in some cases, or in a more metaphorical way of like, I have to keep my secret identity. That's important. And so it's very relatable stuff to a queer reader, very relatable stuff to a trans reader. Bodies are frequently mutable in superhero comics, something I love. So like all of this stuff was already in there when I read them, whether it was in
part video where you insert your own audio.
Where all
listen to.
Okay.
Is not just
for those of you who couldn't hear it. Superheroes are very queer kind of story. Superheroes are in the closet. Superheroes are trans because their bodies are mutable, because they can change. This person needs to go the fuck off of comics. They obviously, oh my God, no. I mean, this is the Hawk Woman writer. Hawk Woman sucks.
Trans person. I'm not going to say woman because they're not a woman. Sorry, it's a dude with boobs.
That guy, he's screwing up everything. He decided he was going to live as a woman, and he reads comic books, and because they're leading two lives, they're trans. They're not people trying to hide their identity to protect their loved ones. They're trans. That's what he is saying that he sees comic books to be. And no, it's not. But that's what we've been seeing quite a bit with DC especially. I told you guys. I told you DC was going to steer harder into all of this crap than Marvel ever had.
Of course.
And they have been dismantling their entire line to the point of unrecognizable ability. It's a great
Batman issue.
It's been horrible to watch as you see what do they call them, 4chan writers or whatever they are.
Well, is 4chan even around anymore? I mean, Tumblr's now.
I don't know what those kids were talking, but basically they're not real comic book writers. They don't care about the stories. They don't care about the characters. They care about their story, and they constantly tell it. Fuck, Tom King is celebrated for it. He's told the same story over and over.
They don't
One in the guise of True Grit. Go ahead.
It's not they don't care about the characters. They don't respect the character's background, the backstory, the lore, and all of them. So they like, the idea, look, it's this Wonder Woman. I'm going to make her where she's a lesbian and eats ice cream. They don't care about, they don't care anything about the actual character's backstory. They see their own little ship fantasies they want to do because they've been reinforced for the past, since the early 2000s. I think this is where this BS started, where you have Tumblr, you have things called WordPress where people do fan fiction. No, don't get me wrong. Fan fiction, I have no problem with it. But when you say your version is the only version, fuck you.
Well, yeah, make this gay universe a black label. Go on ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Fun with it. But they have managed in continuity to wipe out the Kryptonian race.
Last man of Krypton. No more.
Yeah, the last son of Krypton. Exactly. Because we know. Oh, no. He's not gay. He's bi. Bullshit. When they do this, they don't. He's a bisexual. No, they never. They'll never. Tim Drake will never date Stephanie again. Think about that.
Axel Rodriguez.
Axelrod isn't a comic book writer. Axelrod agent said he should take up comics writing because it was big right now and get him famous.
That's the other thing too. These are people coming from these are script writers, and now with guess what, with the SAG or Screenwriters Guild on strike, that's what they're coming to, the comic books now, because they realize, hey, I can get a steady paycheck here and don't have to worry about strikes.
Yep, Ed. Superheroes are queer because they have secret identities. They live two lives, much like trans people, much like gay people have to hide themselves. Since when was the last time a gay person has had to hide their homosexuality?
If someone wants to write,
hold on, hold on. Let's talk about that seriously. When was the last time a gay person had to hide his homosexuality? And I'm not talking about from family members. Sometimes you do get somebody who, I can't believe my son is, or I can't believe my daughter is. I can't believe, I get that. I get the individual, but socially, when was the last time that had to be hidden? Because I remember in the 80s, there were people, you had like on Too Close for Comfort, the obviously gay neighbor who had to play it straight. But somewhere in the 90s,
the mid 90s, RuPaul is where it started.
Somewhere in the 90s, it started disappearing. It became now I see Ahsoka in the US, I mean, probably in the 70s. Now, I think in the 70s, people started going, look, guys, they're homosexual. I mean, Stonewall, Harvey Milk, they opened the door. And I'm not saying it was easy, but through the 80s, especially because they were hyping up the AIDS thing, that it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy, but in the 90s, it was like, there's no big deal. What the seriously? And I'm not saying it's kind of like the racial thing. I get people mad because I say racism was dead 23 years ago. We killed it. It was gone. And people, well, I got called it. Doesn't matter. That's racists. You're never in the history of the world from here on to the end of it, where we blow up in the next big bang. You will not get rid of racists.
No,
ever. Black, white, Indian, Asian.
You can pass many laws, or
doesn't matter. There's always going to be
some sort of racism.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone who hates the other.
Yeah, it won't be widely accepted though. That's like it used to be in the 60s.
Yeah,
by the late 70s into the 80s, it was pretty much we all just want to have fun. Everybody, dude, white,
and
black,
that's why I said it was gone. There was a baseball player came out, said something racist, and he was gone. Yep. Society ostracized him. He is no longer a part of. He's no longer playing in our sandbox. And that is the same thing as it is with gay people now. I'm sorry. They're acting like, oh my gosh, we can't show ourselves. Oh my gosh, we got it. No, that's not the way it is.
This generation, my generation, I was born in 85. A lot of us were raised, the news will never lie to us. We don't think for ourselves. We're taught, to think that, the government wants us, to help us out and stuff. A lot of us, so we pretty much, they said, they dumbed down the generation from the millennials going up, but there are some Gen Xers that are just as dumb as millennials. Don't tell you that it's not just 100, just this certain age group and going on. But it's so easy for them to manipulate your country, especially when they have the guide like, what's going on in Venezuela? Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Like KGB did this. I don't ever think that your government is 100% for you, because then that's when the government takes over. But I don't want to turn it into a political stream here, but. I'm just getting sick of this. Where like if someone wants to write a gay or Batman, Superman, whatever, I don't give a shit to the point. But if you're telling me that only that's that from now on, this character is just gay because you decided, no, go take your Tumblr stuff, or create an Elseworld.
Tumblr, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. Like I said, if you want to have an Elseworlds for your gay characters, go ahead. I don't care if they're the gay Superman Elseworlds. But don't say where I can no longer have my straight version of these characters because it's and they call me a bigot. That's the problem.
It's not the straight version. It's the version of the character that's existed for 50,
Well,
60,
that's what I mean.
70 years, 80 in some cases.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's one of those things where you tell me you're going to take away my toy, you're going to change it and say from now on this point we're going to do this, and then if you don't like it, you're a bigot. Dan Slott was with Mary Jane. He's like, oh, no one cares about that's not the gateway or the selling point for Spider-Man. It has been for the past 20 years, or actually before. Actually, that's not 20 years, but for at least 30 years, that was the appeal for Spider-Man readers. Mary Jane and Peter Parker being married. Then introduced to Spider-Girl. That's what the fans loved. And you cannot deny the sales. So to try to tell us, like, well, like it's an analogy. Walking into a pizza place, dude. You walk into Pizza Hut. Where's my pizza order? Oh no, here's this vegan pizza. We know you wanted the other one, but this is better.
Thanks, California. You ruined pizza.
And if you don't like this pizza, too bad. Go somewhere else. The problem is there is nowhere else to go. They know it. Well,
here's the thing. This person, the writer of Hawk Girl, Hawk Woman, whatever it is,
Hawk it.
all of that could have been made true if this person had said, I think, or in my opinion, or when I read them, I felt.
Yeah.
But no, and this is the biggest problem, is that exactly like you said, they are saying this is the definitive version.
Yeah.
And that is wrong in so many different ways. And DC is afraid, and I get it. Look at what happened to J.K. Rowling. They had a Harry Potter retrospect, and they didn't even invite her to her own party. They're trying to separate the creator from the property, even though all she ever said was, you can't have men taking over women's space. They're literally writing women out of history.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before, the trans movement boils down to shut the fuck up, men are talking. That's what it's boiled down to. Women aren't women, they're birthing people. Women are men who say they're women. And that's been the way it goes. Since J.K. Rowling's put that out there, she's been taken away from her own, or tried to be separated from her own creation. And I'm pretty sure that scares the shit out of, definitely it would scare the shit out of, say, Jim Lee or Dan Didio or somebody who's middle management, because if they say no to the girl or the guy who's writing Hawk Girl or Hawk Woman, if they say no to them, then they're in deep trouble. They're in a hot spot. And the reason why I don't want to refer to that guy as a girl is because he isn't. And at this point, I'm sorry, I've watched too many women being pushed out of female spaces to any longer support that. If you're not going to be polite about it, then why should anybody else? And you're not polite when you're pushing women out of their spaces, when you're negating women. It's not a good thing. This is one of the reasons I think my channel has remained shadow banned, but I'm not big enough to be kicked off and made a deal of like Steven Crowder or anything. I don't know.
The biggest thing I hate the most is and they say, well, we can't create a new character that's gay. Well, you can. It's called just don't write it all about him being gay.
Yeah, well,
if that's your main thing, that means you don't have a character. You just have you wanting to write being
that's the big problem. That's why I mentioned the same thing. You don't want a woman to write. You don't want a female writer, modern day female writer, to write women. You don't want a gay person or a trans person to write gay or trans characters, because they don't make them three-dimensional. They don't make them anything but that immutable characteristic.
Well,
that's the biggest problem.
I would slightly disagree. I'd say there are. I don't care what your race or origin or your sexual orientation is. If you don't know how to write, you don't know how to write.
Well, there's always an exception.
Yeah.
Get her off Twitter, and I think Gail Simone is an incredible writer of female characters. She's proven that she can be. I think, of course, like a lot of people, she lost her way when she got onto Twitter. But you can't deny Birds of Prey was awesome. You know, you can't deny that Batgirl run in the New 52 was pretty damn good, you know?
Gail Simone came in and it was always a virtue signal for her on Red Sonja. Let's get rid of the whole rape thing. Let's ignore that bad things happen. The character, you know.
Yeah. Well,
you know what was really messed up is when I've been reading Huntress, not the Lena Wayne one, I read the 90s one, and she was molested as a child. They decided to erase that because it was too harsh. I was like, it freaking happens. To ignore that stuff. We're not promoting it.
One of the worst things to happen to any DC character is Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn would have been a great parable. She is a great character to tell a rough story. She was in a relationship with the Joker. She fell into it. He is an abusive spouse. He's an abusive character. She stayed with him even though she was beaten constantly. Now, of course, you don't want her to live in that forever.
No.
So you have her move on. She doesn't like Joker. She goes to women. Now she's with Ivy.
But she should still be in jail.
But Ivy should turn out to be an abusive partner because a lot of times women who are abused fall into a pattern where they go after the same kind of person. So whether it's male or female, Harley Quinn would actually chase the same kind of thing, probably not even knowing why or knowing that she's doing it. And the fact that she would go back to it, the fact that she would make excuses for it would bring light to the story of abused women. Unfortunately, you get these people who think as deep as a Dixie cup. Oh no, it's a beautiful and wonderful lesbian relationship. Let's make it the perfect thing ever. No,
even if you take away the lesbian part, they have her going around as being the anti-male person. Now, I mean, now she basically kills men or beat up cops. She should be in jail. She should still be a criminal. Not this where also she's a hero now. It's like what they should do, put it on a work release program.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty bad.
Not where she's like, Batman's like, okay, you murdered thousands of people with the Joker, but it was just a Joker making you do it. I understand, but bitch, get the jail.
Let's see. Moran saying, true fact, someone called back in the day called me a bio-female trans because of my lower voice. I remember that. It was the awesome black pills who did that.
You remember when Ivy used to try to control Batman with a kiss? Same with Superman. Same thing too. Like when Ivy actually was a villain and she wasn't considered a hero. I mean, G. Will Wilson, I was reading that last year. I think Undead Quinn was reading it too. And I gave it a shot. She was going to murder people. But now they're trying to say that she's an anti-villain or anti-hero, or whatever you call it. And I'm just like, there's no way you can justify that. It's like Jason Todd murdering people.
Let's see. Maranya wants me to finish the comment. I do have a bad habit of reading the top part of a comment. Let's see. These days, with hiring at the big two, I should lean into that and get hired as a trans writer. Go for it. Seriously, go for it.
I mean, if you can, try to get the creative officer position, so you can actually just say, you know what, everyone's straight now. Wouldn't that be funny?
Well, hello, sir. How are you doing? Isn't this Robert Roberts' new or other? Hail Lord Zeno, hail Princess Xena, long may they reign. Yeah, that's him.
I don't know anymore at this point. If you create an alt and then I don't forget what your original account was.
Matthew, by the way, is correctly stating that everybody lives two lives. Everybody, at least two lives. Why do these trans activists feel the need to delegitimize everyone else's life experience? Well, they think they're the only ones. That's why I'm saying that's what started me off on the when is the last time a gay person had to hide. You don't have to hide that kind of stuff. Right now, if you're a conservative, you have to hide more than any gay or trans.
You want to see what's going on in DC right now? Go pick up the latest Batman and Robin, the Josh Williamson.
All right. I may or may not identify as Robert Roberts. Let's see. Just like how Winnie the Pooh is in public domain, but there are two distinct Wendy. Yeah, you can. Well, that was what we're saying. I don't know if the Fables, if you drew Bigby to look like DC Bigby, would you get in trouble? The same with Winnie the Pooh. You can use Winnie the Pooh. You just can't use red shirt balloon hair holding Winnie the Pooh that Disney created. So,
yeah. Did you check out the news yesterday? Apparently in Mexico, they released E.T. and his brother.
Oh yeah, Biden's about to get indicted. Therefore, we need aliens out in the world. Yeah, I read that. I'm sorry, but
So the video.
Have you noticed any time the Republicans go, hey, you know what? We actually have video of Hunter Biden being a child while doing blow and handing a big pile of cash to his dad. Oh my gosh, there's a tsunami. You know, it's like
yeah, he hasn't been impeached, but we're talking about, you know, maybe impeaching him. And also
so
it's
you got to talk about aliens. You have to distract the public, and that's what those little stone creatures are. Are they aliens? Okay, cool.
I'm just gonna say for those who you guys need to watch Resident Alien. And he talks about it. He's like, oh, the little gray ones. Yeah, nobody fucking likes those. You know, they're all the steps of probing.
Right.
Like, jackasses the universe.
But yeah, here's the thing. I saw him and I was like, oh, okay. Like everybody else, I was like, wow, Spielberg nailed it, didn't he?
You know, right? It is E.T. Exactly.
But my thoughts on it were, okay, here, I know what this is. This is a distraction from what's going on with Biden. So if it is an alien, okay, cool. I've always expected them to be. I'm not affected by this, you know, because I know in a galaxy, in a universe this big, there's got to be some other life forms. Do they have interstellar traffic or transportation? I have no idea.
I always like the fact that, like, you get aliens like, oh, they're better up. Then they have traffic jams in space.
Yeah, maybe that's. I don't know. Maybe if an alien steps up Paul-like and starts joking around with me and trying to smoke weed, okay, fine. But otherwise, I'm not going to be amazed by this until I think I see the not something that looks like a stone creation, but if, you know, you show me something weird and I'll be more impressed.
Yeah, but the other thing about those aliens, they did not kill themselves, just like Jeffrey Epstein didn't.
I got my auction books again. You did it. You managed to pack them in release order. That's actually because that's what I do.
You beat here last week. Yeah, I got them.
Yeah. What happens if you have a box? I'll just take your page and I'll put it right in front, and I'll continue to do that. And that way I can look at the papers and see what I'm shipping. I do that with everybody except for Eric and Boyd, apparently, because he has received so many books he hasn't ordered. So
this Saturday I'm gonna go live around noon, because apparently that's when all my subscribers are active. You know, so I'm gonna go.
I know, isn't that weird? It's like that's what they say for me too. 12 and 6. So I never stream or do videos. At
12 to 2 for on Saturdays. So I'm like, you know, I'll just do a little stream right there, do an unboxing, get it done with, advertise the auction, and then go. And then because I'm kind of curious to see if I get more traction. We're only like we're at like 55 subs away, or no, actually, no, sorry, 95 subs away, and then we're monetized.
Are we yeah, we're getting to the end of it, so we're talking about what's happening. So watch his unboxing.
Well, check out
I am hoping to get this video out by tonight, but here's the thumbnail for, because I haven't done one of these in a long time, but they've hit my feed. I've got a couple of channels, and these videos, the comic books were better videos, hit my feed, and I was like, you know, I haven't watched any. I don't like the sound of my own voice, so I don't watch a lot of my videos. And I decided, you know what, I'll start doing that. And I started on 1930s, and then kept going. These are some good videos. I like these. So I thought, you know what, let me pick it up again. And I did 1940s twice. I can't do 1930s twice. There just isn't enough material. But I did 1940s, and I said, you know what, let me continue. Let me do the 50s, let me 60s, 70s, 80s. And then after that, after I complete another round of the decades, I'm going to specific years, which will also be one of the commission things on Ko-Fi, where you could pick a year, and I'll just talk about the highlights and the lowlights and some of the history surrounding that particular year. So keep an eye out to that for that. But for those of you who haven't seen these videos, by all means, they're one of the rows on the front page of my channel. So by all means, check it out. I'm very proud of them. They're a lot of fun. And one of them was used in a, what's his name again? The guy who always talks like this. And that guy who tries like he's, the YouTube macho man savage. He loves the shadow. What's his name? Razor Fist. Razor Fist.
See, I tell you this.
That's it. Yeah. He used one of my videos. It was comic books were better in the 90s to talk about how bad and people like this are saying that dude didn't read it.
Donate now and leave on the Ko-Fi link if you donate $1 or more or whatever, you know, just let them know which stuff you're looking for.
Well,
maybe
it's a little bit more than $1,
but you know,
yeah,
just get your attention, you know, but for certain things.
But anything does help, and as RDV has pointed out before, it helps to pay for StreamYard. Not only am I paying for regular StreamYard, but since MARANYA has her show on Tuesday nights, and VENKMAN's helped out the channel a lot, I pay for the Ultimate, so you guys could come in and do your thing as well. But yeah, it all helps, and I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Any publicity is good. I thought so, and people talked about it. That's fine. By the way, I make fun of Razor Fist because to me he's a very comical character. I don't know if he means to be, but he's tough talking, he's fast talking, and the thing is every time I watch his videos, I can't take my eyes off of his sunglasses because you can see his scripts in his sunglasses. So I don't know if he's doing this on purpose. So maybe I'm taking him the wrong way. I like his words, I like what he says, but I can't take the character serious because I don't know if he's parodying or not.
Like I said, when it comes to YouTubers doing characters, nostalgic character was always the best in his early days.
Maybe so. Razor knows he's doing a bit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. And I love that. I find it to be incredibly funny because I do know a couple of people, or I did know growing up a couple of people who were like that. They didn't do the Macho Man voice, but
the one thing that sticks up in Nostalgic Critic is that he was talking about the Power Rangers movie came out, in 2017 or 18, and he's like, "Are you freaking shitting me? The evil the base for all the villains is in a Krispy Kreme donut." It's like, I knew they were evil, trying to get me fat.
Krispy Kreme were the big bad guys, and I love
that. Yeah, he said he's reviewing because he's got a giant box of Krispy Kreme donut, and he's like he ate like half the box on the live stream not the live stream, but the video. He's like, I know these are evil, but they're delicious.
Wait, hey, JR, were you the one that commissioned the Canadian heroes? Because I did have somebody commission. Could you do a history of comics on, Canadian superheroes? That was an interesting road to go down. I like that one. I like bringing that kind of thing back.
What?
The comic book origins got a little weird because you know that scene in Christmas Story where he's talking about can you name name a celebrity of some sorts, and it was Tonto's best friend's horse or something like that,
right?
That's actually how the comic book origins started to go. I was like, but it's interesting to see what you guys can pick to do videos for. I'm actually trying to steer more into that again and get, let Stella get her groove back, basically. Which also I've been breaking down live stream. So if you don't get a chance to watch an entire 2 or 3 hour live stream over from the long box, I started breaking down the top 10 reasons Silver Age comics suck. And that's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to hear the different views all over again. Let's see. Also, to find comic books that don't get bids on, I do put them on eBay as well. Tonto's horse's name Scout. Yeah. All right. There you go, gang. Hey, what's up?
No, I was checking
you?
something. So you hid the word subscribe. Apparently,
What?
I typed in subscribe. And earlier in the comment above, right above Maranya's Tonto's horse named Scholar, and then now it's like it doesn't show up on StreamYard. So I don't know if it was. I was like, hey,
It's typing from here. Well, I just wrote subscribe.
Well, my Geeky Puppet Show does not have manager thing.
Oh, okay. So that is weird.
So I was wondering, like, did you block it or did you?
That might have been. Remember when we when we were starting and we would get just so many people come in and subscribe to this, subscribe to that.
But anyway, since I'm on panel, go to Geeky Puppet Show. We're at 408. As soon as we get to 500. We'll be able to get monetized over there. We'll get some more funds. We'll do some more stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
Who knows?
Tonight,
maybe Saturdays will be the Saturday nooners will be a thing.
And tonight you have the
8 p.m. Central. We're doing the best of the week. Basically, the books. It's basically a comic book haul show where it's me, Eric Breen. Zach will pop on too, and then our other guy, our Jeff, or one of our guys, Geek Easy, I think it is, comes out, and we just show up the books we got from the comic book shop. A lot of times we get back issues too. We show that, and then the younger guys show up comic books.
I was gonna do an auction tonight. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. I don't want it to happen, but my supplier fucked me over this time around, and I thought I was going to be getting books today, and I just saw that they ship books today. So if they don't come in on Saturday, I've got last week's books, and I'm going to try to get some new big dogs or something that might appeal. But I had the first appearance of Monica Rambeau coming in.
Nice.
I had some decent books coming in for this week's auction, and unfortunately, they might actually have to wait. I might do one tomorrow, give myself a little time to prepare. I'm not expecting any of the crew to be there. You guys have your own thing. It's just something I would have to do.
So I would say this: if you think you're not going to get books by Saturday, advertise the books that you bought.
Oh, that's true. I could go through the list, and these are going to be in the next one.
Yeah. So people have an idea. So when the next auction, is, and then, you should be. It's your business. You should be advertising.
I know. One book that's waiting for me to send payment on is not going to show up. I am so happy. I finally got the other half of the first appearances of the Unknown Soldier. I've been looking around for it. This right here that's on the wall over there in the corner. That is the first official Unknown Soldier where he's named that instead of just random Unknown Soldier. The trial. I'm looking forward to that.
Auction on Monday nights.
Yeah, that might actually happen as well.
So Maranya's not going to be here.
That's right. Maranya's not going to be here on Saturday. Yeah. It might. Maybe what I'll do is on Saturday do a 50-cent auction or something like that. But no, I need the 50-cent auction to go to the warehouse sale. Go figure. Anywho, guys, keep an eye out for tomorrow or for definitely Saturday. We're doing an auction. And then we might do another on Monday.
If you do an auction tonight, I'll just ask anybody who's in the auction watching that, watch Geeky Pup Show on replay.
Yeah, why not?
Or have both tabs open.
There you go. That helps everybody. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Please, if you jumped in a little bit late, go on back, check out the entire show. The Bill Willingham stuff is the first half hour. Would you consider having the Extreme Movie Show come on and do movie reviews with you? I would do that, especially when we talk about our top 10s and such like that. I myself, something I've been wanting to do forever and a day is go through my lifetime because I'm egotistic like that. I'm very arrogant. Start at the 1970s and do the top 10s because Why not?
Rob,
I would love to have them jump in.
He said, unfortunately, it would be me and Pixel for on certain days because
That's not unfortunate.
Rob has Tuesdays and Sundays that he's available. Otherwise,
there's a reason why. I mean, there's a reason why I kind of faded out is because I could never be there on time because I'm the gopher in my family.
You're the rabbit. Late.
Yeah. All righty. Anywho, guys, once again, thanks for hanging out with us. Please go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till, maybe pick up a commission. I'm going to be fine-tuning them to the stuff that I find interesting now. They still have the old titles and everything, but for now, you can do that. And don't forget to go on over to Geeky Puppet Show tonight. I'm not going to do an auction. I will drop a video tonight. The comic books were better in the 1950s part 2 will be over on from the long box right now. I had to redo, thanks Maranya for pointing it out. I was watching the video and I heard it yesterday. I published a video and at the end the music, it wasn't even supposed to be there, was so loud and overbearing. I had to redo the video. I released it again today, and at 3 o'clock I released the next chapter of the same video series. Tonight around 9 o'clock, I'm going to drop comic books were better in the 1950s. Check it all out.
Do auction preview video. Do that.
That would be good too. Yeah. And by all means, thank you very much for hanging out with us, and thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good day.